All right, I'm going to go ahead and record here. So, hey, everybody, thanks for joining. My name is James Ketchum. I am with Edge Theory. We are a conversation media company out of Jackson, Mississippi, and we are an official Juice Plus partner. We've actually been running the Soundboard, or a version of the Soundboard, for Juice Plus for going on 3 years now. And is that right? No, it's been 2 years. It's been 2 years. We launched the original version from the Anaheim conference or Sacramento conference in 2015. Yeah. So we ran a version that you might have signed up for if you've been with the company for a while. That was Twitter only. That ran for about a year and a half. And so this time a year ago, when we were working with Meredith Martin and Katie Maxwell and Ben Tacker at the home office on kind of the feedback they were getting from the field, the overwhelming response was, hey, people really like it. They like that you're tweeting for them, but we want Facebook content. We want content that we can put on other platforms. So that's why we rebuilt it to the version that you see today. So I see that of the 6 people who voted in the poll, you're already signed up for Soundboard. So we're not going to spend too much time on how to sign up, because you know how to do that, but I certainly want to walk through some of the features that you may or may not be familiar with, because we've actually even added another feature this week. So we'll talk through that. We'll talk through some other education resources that you can have access to apart from tonight's call. And then we're also going to be making a pretty big announcement at conference next week about an even further set of trainings that we have coming that we're really excited about. So just to give y'all a little quick background, I'm a Juice Plus consumer. Myself, my family is, and I have to tell y'all the story. So when I was a little kid, I was extremely picky. I still am. But, when I was little 38 years ago, they just had this thing that they would just say, well, he's just really picky. Well, now they have a name for it. It's called sensory processing disorder. And it's primarily texture issues. Like, I cannot eat fruit. It just stops right here. It won't go down. So I've been taking Juice Plus for a long time. And when my oldest daughter, who's 6, was a baby, and we were just starting her with table food when she was 4 or 5 months old, my wife called me one day upset that Lily had just thrown up a banana. And I said, well, that's because bananas are nasty. And of course she threw it up. And so I gave her my affliction of sensory processing disorder. But the minute that I realized that this was happening, I thought, well, we've got Juice Plus chewables. What are we worried about? So I've got little girls that take their chewables and don't get sick, and everything's cool. So we're big believers in the product in our house. So. All right, so let's hop in real quick. So Soundboard, since you've all already signed up, I'll throw this out there, for folks who may be watching the recording who aren't signed up. And Cindy, we can certainly fudge the numbers here. But we give away at least one Apple Watch every month. And if you use this particular link to sign up for the Soundboard as opposed to your virtual office, then we can tie you to tonight's webinar, and you will have a smaller bucket of names to draw from for the drawing. And if you've already signed up, I'll give you all my contact information at the end of this. You can send me a message, and I'll make sure your name is in this particular drawing. So just a heads up there. So the big picture is why the Soundboard. The Soundboard is built to give you access to content all the time, because we have found that people's main pain points with social media are, I don't have time to go look for stuff to post, and I don't know what to say. And so people end up not doing anything except consuming on social media. So we built the Soundboard to have that healthy living content so that you can have good stuff going out every day. As long as we've been working with Katie and Ben and Meredith, we've really learned what you are allowed to say and then not allowed to say. So compliance is a big thing that we're cognizant of. And, the content does not mention the products. And I bring up the old version of the Soundboard because the Twitter version that ran until last Halloween, we did mention the products a lot. And every single thing that we published had to be pre-cleared by one of those team members. And so when we rebuilt this version, they said, you know what, let's get away from that. Let's take Jay Martin's charge at fall conference last fall, which was, let's tell a better healthy living story. Let's zoom out from the brand, take a certification burden off the home office. So the stuff that we post, they know is in line with the message and the healthy living approach that the brand takes. But at the same time, if you want specific product content, that's up to you to post. But we do tweet out links to your to your Juice Plus site, in the content that we do. So just be aware of that. Now, what we're going to go through real quick here, and if you've been through on some of the Keep Punching calls, this is just a quick refresher, our 5 steps to social media success that we worked with Carrie on. But these have really become a cornerstone, and so I really rely on these, and I'll connect you with our 6-week training series that we've done kind of separately from Carrie's Keep Punching calls that we are working on really codifying these to give to corporate and have something that you all can have as an ongoing resource eventually, hopefully in the virtual office. But we're thinking through, we want to educate you about all the things that are out there. We want to be making sure that the content that we're providing you is good, compliant, and accurate and authoritative, but also helping you be comfortable being yourself in the content that you share coming through these platforms, as a reflection of who you are in totality and not just a healthy living interested person. Thinking through how you come across, because you're a franchise owner, like it or not, you are a brand, and it's important how you come across on the platforms. These platforms also provide a lot of data and information to you about who is listening and who your audience is. So we want to leverage that information. So we're hitting the nail on the head of knowing the right ways to talk, and all of that leads to conversation. And so many, the single most common question that I get from Soundboard subscribers is, hey, I'm getting all this great engagement, I'm getting all these great responses to the messages, what do I do with it? What do I do next? And so we want you to be comfortable with the mechanics of these social media platforms so that you are comfortable in responding to people, which will lead to hopefully, growing your business. So the Soundboard now works with everything that you see here, including Instagram, but Instagram doesn't actually have a little button. So we'll talk about that in a minute, how to get around that limitation. But we just rolled out Facebook Messenger. You may have gotten an email about that over the weekend. But not only do we operate with the social media channels that we think of, the biggies, Facebook, Twitter, Pinterest, but, in a way, texting and email are also a form of social media. They're just a one-to-one versus a one-to-many. But we certainly think of those as great communication tools. And when we think about the content, I'm sure that a lot of you are using your mobile, but everything's optimized for mobile. Again, this is not about the product, but the content is that helping you tell a bigger picture story about healthy living, so that as you come across to your audience, we want you to be an authority to your audience, but we also want you to be yourself and have all those things come across. And so one of the big pieces of the education that we do, apart from this call, is helping you make sure that all your ducks are in a row with the way that you are perceived out there in the world. And we want to, again, leverage what we can learn about our audiences through this data that these social media channels provide, which leads to conversation. Love Carrie's quote, conversation that can lead to an invitation that can lead to a presentation. It's all got to start with us being, pretty two-sided about this. And so one of the things that I try to help people understand is, the Soundboard is a really great tool, but it can only get you about 65, 70, 75 yards down the field. It cannot ultimately create the conversation for you. And so when people email me and say, hey, I've been on Soundboard for 2 weeks, nobody's bought anything. Well, I say, well, have you actually been talking to people, or are you just posting? And so that's the other piece of this, is having good content out there is great. And it's a huge, start. It's a huge mile track down the road. But you've also got to be engaged with people. And, you know, it's just like in real life on social media. If you want a friend, you have to be a friend. And so you've got to be out starting conversations. So how do we do all that? All right, so let's talk about the biggies, Facebook and Twitter. Facebook is probably the most powerful way that you can market to people that have some kind of relationship to you, because, you know, we build our Facebook network based on connections that we already have with real people. Twitter is a totally different animal. If Facebook is the backyard barbecue where you have your friends come and they bring some friends, but everybody kind of has some tangential relationship, you don't have people walking off the street and grabbing a burger and sitting down in the middle of a backyard barbecue and everybody's just like, oh yeah, that's normal. Okay, same thing with Facebook. When I get random friend requests from people I've never heard of and have no connections to, my first suspicion is this is a fake account. You know, we just don't let those random friend requests in on Facebook. We've learned to be suspicious of them. On Twitter, it's the cocktail party where you don't know anybody, but you want to make connections with these people because everybody's got something interesting to say. And if you can learn to speak the right way, then you can learn to insert yourself in these conversations with new people. The conversation is more surface. Twitter is not where you put your naked baby photos. It is not where you share your deepest, darkest in a conversation with a friend. It is a completely public platform, all right? And that is a beautiful thing if you use it right. So for Facebook, for Pinterest, Instagram, LinkedIn, Google+, all these other platforms, the Soundboard is designed to provide content for you so that you can go and pick and choose what you want to share when you want to share it. None of those platforms allow for auto posting. Okay, they don't allow outside systems to auto post. Twitter is the odd man out here. Twitter allows outside systems like the one we built at Edge Theory to auto post for its users. So if you sign up for a Soundboard plan that includes the Twitter auto posting function, then you don't have to put anything out on Twitter. You don't have to publish anything on Twitter. We do it for you. But I highly encourage you to take the time to react and know what's going on with your account. All right, so let's hop over here to Twitter, and I want to show you some things. The first thing that I've done here is I'm logged in as the Juice Plus Helper handle, which I run to answer questions about the Soundboard. And I have done a search for #healthy. Okay, and if you're not familiar with how a hashtag works, got a visitor. If you're not familiar with how a hashtag works, think of it as like a conversation indexing system, or like a conversation unifying system. Oh, I got to turn off Boxer. Sorry, gonna get boxed. And so what happens is when you're using hashtags, you get seen, your message gets included alongside every other message that's using that particular hashtag. And so when I say Twitter is a totally public platform, this is where it gets really powerful. All right, so I didn't have to scroll far to find an example of this, but this is a Soundboard tweet. Lynn is a Soundboard subscriber, okay? Lynn has 26 followers, which would be considered a smaller account on Twitter. But this is where I want you to shatter your perception of Twitter as a place where you only talk to your followers, because you don't. Follower count kind of matters, but it doesn't really matter, because Lynn here is in a list of tweets that if somebody searched for #healthy, they would see this tweet about great feeling to get healthy, and this image of this person on the treadmill. Lynn got a retweet and a like on this tweet, and this only went out an hour ago. So that's 2 connection points that she potentially has there if she will capitalize on them. But here's what's really powerful. Look what the next tweet in the list is. Dr. Joseph Mercola, who has 263,000 followers, who's a health activist and runs this big health site, Mercola.com. So here's the point. It doesn't matter that Lynn only has 26 followers, because the way that we're tweeting for her and including these hashtags means that everybody who's looking for this topic can find what she has to say. And I bet if we dug a little bit, the people that retweeted this and liked it may not even follow Lynn, and they probably don't, because truthfully, Lynn doesn't have a lot of followers, which again is okay. Let's follow her. Let's give her another follower. So when you think about Twitter, there's two assumptions I want you to try to set aside. One, I hear over and over, well, my audience just isn't on Twitter. That's not true. There are healthy living conversations going on Twitter all day, every day. March was National Nutrition Month. And if you paid attention to your Soundboard tweets that went out for you, we were tweeting about that a lot because we wanted you to be included in those conversations. April, I'll have to look. We have something going on. I think the last week in the month is like National Kids Nutrition Week or something like that. But we've got content built in around that because those hashtags are announced ahead of time and people are planning on using them to generate this big conversation. And we want you to be included in those because when people look for this topic, one, they don't know who you are and they probably don't know what Juice Plus is, but it doesn't ultimately matter because this is how you get connected with these new people. And this is just from a posting perspective, not even considering going out and engaging and following new people and things like that. So there's a lot that we can talk about with Twitter. I know that it's got the highest learning curve. People are typically the least comfortable with it, but it's also the most powerful of all the platforms out there because, Facebook is like Vegas a little bit. What happens on Facebook stays on Facebook. And it's an insular environment, whereas Twitter is, you're talking to not only everybody who's on the platform, but you're also talking to the world. All right. So if we went to Google, let's just go to Google and search for hashtag healthy. Watch what happens. We get, in the first couple of hits here, we get a Twitter search here. And sometimes, here's another Twitter, sometimes tweets themselves pop up when you're looking for hashtags. It's not doing it right now. But when I search for things, this is the easiest way that I find if something's trending on Twitter, truthfully. Sometimes tweets themselves will pop up right here in the top of the Google search. And so you can read tweets without even being on Twitter. You don't even have to have a Twitter account and to read tweets. So that's how public they get spread all over the place. So when you make that assumption, hey, my audience isn't on Twitter, A, that's not true, but B, they're on Google because everybody's on Google. So be aware of that. All right, so Soundboard. Everybody signed up that's on the call. But let's talk a little bit about some of the features, okay? So the Soundboard, again, is designed to give you access to content. I'll just show you this real quick because I did go to the, I made y'all a special little site. So welcome, Team Effect. So the link that you keep seeing on all these slides, effect.juiceplus.vip is your very own little site. If you're thinking about, if you've signed up for Soundboard and you haven't really used it a lot, you do have the ability to switch your plans. I'll just show you this real quick as a friendly reminder. All the plans come with a 10-day free trial. This one is just auto tweeting. So the only thing we do is tweet for you. This one gives you access to what I'm about to show you, where you have to go and pick the content and you make the posts whenever you want. This one is both. So you can get access to all these platforms that don't allow auto posting, and we tweet for you through Twitter. So that's what you're looking at. So let's go ahead and hop in to the Soundboard. So I'm already logged in here. So what we've done is assembled a list of articles, videos, and images that you can share across all your various social media channels whenever you want. And in a minute, I'll show you, if you're not familiar with it, there's some tools out there that let you schedule posts ahead of time, which can save you even more time. But we've rolled out a couple new features, so I'll go ahead and show you this. When you pick an article, if you haven't been on in a week or two, we went ahead and put all the most popular buttons at the top here just to save you a little bit of time. If you want to leave the Soundboard and check out the article in its home link, you can just by clicking this. Then we've got the image here. So whenever you post an article to Facebook in particular, Facebook's going to go and talk to that article wherever it is and pull an image that it will post alongside the article link. And so the image that you see here is the one that will go out. And then we've actually started scraping and hosting the entire article here in the Soundboard. A lot of people said they didn't like having to leave Soundboard to preview it. So feel free to read the whole thing or not. And so here we have all of our share buttons. And we have this philosophy, again, at Edge Theory, that we want to save you the time of going and digging for content. So we're providing that. But also Hallmark is a $1 billion a year company, because even our loved ones don't know what to say to us on our birthday. So that's why they buy us a card. So don't feel bad if you don't know what to say, in your post to the wide world. So we've got some suggested text here. If you want to use it, you don't have to use it. But when you see what you like, come down here and you push any one of these buttons to make it go out on these various platforms. So this is going to go out on your Facebook personal profile. If you are managing a Facebook business page, if you are a member of a group, or if you maintain a group, or if you want to share it directly to somebody, you use this button. As a caveat, this button, Facebook broke the mobile version. So if you've been on Soundboard on your phone and wondering where this went, Facebook broke it, and we're waiting for them to fix it. But this still works on desktop. Here's our new Facebook Messenger if you want to send an article directly that way. Of course, you can add to what we're doing for you on Soundboard on Twitter. Keep in mind that Facebook, I don't recommend more than 1 or 2 articles a day, but Twitter's a totally different animal. The shelf life of a tweet is about 4 minutes to 7 minutes. So you can tweet 20 times a day and your audience would never see it all. So people don't get bombarded the same way, because unlike Facebook, Twitter's just chronological. It just the new stuff gets put at the top, and everything else just gets shoved down. So that's why it just moves so fast. Feel free to do that. Business-minded stuff, LinkedIn is a great place to make Chamber of Commerce style connections. You're probably not going to sell product to individuals on LinkedIn, but I think it's a great place to make business-minded connections. My mom is in direct sales. She works for Cabby Clothing. They do women's clothing shows in home shows only. But what she's done is she uses LinkedIn to connect with local business people. And so she's actually connected with ladies that own like local shoe stores and local jewelry stores. And they bring their wares and their customers into these home shows. And mom sells those people clothes, and they bring their shoes and they sell more shoes, and everybody wins. And so that's an idea. I know you can't like contact a health food store in your area and put Juice Plus on the shelf. But if a local health food store is giving classes on health during pregnancy, then you probably would have a lot to say about that. So think about making those kind of connections on LinkedIn. Email, great way to stay in touch with customers. Letting people know that, hey, I saw this great article, I was thinking about you. And then of course, Pinterest, you can use the images. We'll get to these two in a minute. So anyway, whenever you pick something, you share. This is probably what y'all are familiar with. We send that out. I do this a lot, so I'm gonna actually just do only me, because otherwise my friends get hammered all day long. But that's it, just a couple clicks and the article's out and away. So how do you think about this in terms of time management? All right, so that's one of the big things that people say, okay, this is really nice, James, you're tweeting for me, but I still have to come to the Soundboard every day and think about this. So here's the thing I want you to be aware of that will save you time. We're going to go to buffer.com. Buffer.com is a free web service, and it has a separate free app for your phone. And so I've come to the Connect page. The one of the nice features is that it lets you connect all your social media channels here in kind of like a hub, and that's kind of nice. But the killer feature combined with Soundboard is that it lets you schedule stuff out ahead of time. And this makes your life really easy, because if you budget 30 minutes every 5 or 6 days to putting some content out there, then you don't have to think about social for days at a time. It's really nice. So I'm putting this up here because just to clarify, you can put one profile per platform for free on here. Okay, so you can throw in, I've got my personal Facebook, my personal Twitter, my personal LinkedIn. If you would also like to use Buffer to schedule your personal profile Facebook and a business page Facebook and a group, you have to upgrade to their $10 a month plan, and that's separate from Soundboard. Okay, so just be aware of that. But most people are served well enough doing it like this. Okay, so let's go back over here to Soundboard, and I'll show you how easy this is. So when you pick an article, Buffer is one of our most popular features. That's why it's at the top here. So we can go ahead and hit this, or read the article if you want. Let's hit the Buffer, which brings up our scheduler. So remember, I've got my 3 profiles turned on. If you want this article to go out on all of them, leave it like this. This isn't really a LinkedIn style article, so I'm going to turn that off. So here's what it's going to look like on Twitter. Here's the text, and then we can actually add an image from the article if we'd like to. So there's a nice sized one for Twitter. And then for Facebook, oops, I want to turn that off. For Facebook, you actually have to, their reason for doing this is really dumb. It says why you have to manually enter a message for Facebook. So it doesn't auto copy the text for Buffer. So you got to come back over here and copy it if you want to use it. So we'll paste it back in. And so here's the killer feature for Buffer. We want to schedule this post, right? We don't want it to go out right now. So we can schedule it. So typically, peak Facebook hours are from about 6 to 8 a.m., whatever your time zone is, and then from about 6 to 9 p.m. And it's a little different on the weekends, but we've already missed our window for tonight. So I want this to go out tomorrow morning when somebody's staring at their phone over their coffee and be at the top of their feed. All right, so we'll schedule this. It takes a moment to add it to our feed, to our Buffer, and then it brings us right back to Soundboard. So now let's grab something to tweet out tomorrow night. Buffer, here's our scheduler. This is a good article for LinkedIn. Let's get a good little bit of text here to copy for our Facebook text. And we'll post that here. And then we're going to, again, we're going to schedule it. This is going to be our tomorrow night post. That's a little late. Let's do about 8:04 p.m. That's perfect. So now we schedule. So now our social media content for tomorrow is completely taken care of. So now your job is this, to make sure you're staying on top of your notifications. Okay, you don't have to think about posting, and you can do this with the free version of Buffer. You can post up to 10 posts. Now, if you ever want to see what's going on with Buffer, you just come back to buffer.com and come to your content on your dashboard, and you can see what you have scheduled. Okay, we want this little guy to go away. And so you can edit it, you can change the time, you can do whatever you want to it before it goes out. All right, so now, let me show you this real quick while we're here, because this is so cool. Because y'all are kind of Soundboard pros already. So with Buffer, they give you a really interesting set of analytics, okay? So first of all, Facebook, of course, is going to tell you how many people comment on your post and how many people like your post. But what Facebook does not tell you, and Buffer does, is how many people actually clicked on it to read it. This article came with a boring graph. No one read it, even though one person liked it. They were feeling sorry for me, I guess. This article, only 2 people liked it. This is all the data that I got from Facebook. 13 people read it. That's pretty good. Okay, one person read this. Nobody read this. I guess my audience is lazy. They don't like workout articles. But this is, to me, data gold, because I can now tell, outside of getting a smiley face emoticon or somebody saying something, I can tell how many people read something. I mean, that's the kind of stuff I want to know. And so what you can do is something that does really well like this, you can just click rebuffer and send it out again in 2 weeks, because I promise you the same people aren't going to see it. And even if they do, you know how we are on staring at computers, they're not going to remember. So take a look at this. Go back, and I really like this feature on this, because this tells me what people are really truthfully interested in. And so you can tell when something's really hitting. You know, that's data gold to me. The other thing that Buffer does really well is come over to your schedule. And so, you know how I said typical Facebook, 6 to 8 a.m., 6 to 9 p.m. Well, Buffer knows what your audience is doing and when they react to it. So if you click this, I'm under the schedule thing here, try our optimal timing tool. You tell it what platform you want to look at. You tell it about how many times you're going to post every day. And then you hit calculate, and it shows you when your audience is reacting to stuff. And so my audience actually is a little bit later than I thought. Mine's peaking around between 8 and 9:30. It's not that 6 to 8 a.m. That's too early. So that's a big bump. And then I get a little bump in the middle of the afternoon. That's kind of weird. And then I have this evening window. Okay. So what you can do is you can hit replace existing schedule, and Buffer will send out your stuff. Now it'll send it out at 8:46 and 9:57 p.m., which is peak for your audience. And then when you schedule a post, you don't even have to think about what time you want it to go out. You can just pick an article, you click Buffer. We got to grab this text real quick if you want to use it. Throw that in there. And then all you have to do is hit add to queue. You don't have to think about it. Doesn't matter when it goes out. Who cares? Because Buffer will tell you later how well it does. And I just posted something about Easter Bunny desserts to LinkedIn. That's hilarious. I might want to go take that down. But I hope you can see here that this is a really an amazing time saver for you. And so if you'll do this, and then like I said earlier, I didn't finish my thought about notifications. So stay on top of your notifications. Okay, this is the other big thing that people have questions about. What is good etiquette after people react to your stuff? Okay, so 3 major things are going to happen on Twitter. 1, people are going to follow you. So if they follow you and you can tell a little bit about them, it's good etiquette to follow them back. Now, if you're on the call, I'm sorry for picking on you. Normally, I would not follow Jill back because Jill has no icon, no banner. I don't know anything about Jill, but I happen to know that Jill signed up for Soundboard. That's why I followed her back. But you've got to, I'm going to do a little aside here. I'm going to pick on somebody. You've got to make sure that your Twitter profile makes you look like a human, okay? So Red Warrior, bad. Derek, okay, we're really going to pick on Derek. Derek, if you're on the call, oh, you'll be around. All right, so Derek hasn't tweeted. Now, in his defense, he's just joined Twitter, so he's new to all this. Derek has made 2 cardinal mistakes. Cardinal mistake A is he has not yet put anything in here. All right, so nobody's going to engage with Derek, even if Soundboard is tweeting for him and he's got good stuff going out. Nobody engages with the empty little person head here. The other thing is this. This is basically your title on Twitter. It can be whatever you want it to be, and it doesn't matter if there's another Derek Robinson on Twitter that has his name the same here. This is actually your Twitter handle, And this has to be completely unique to Twitter. So when Derek signed up, the name Derek Robinson was already taken on Twitter. And so Twitter gave him a suggestion for a potential Twitter handle name that would be unique. Twitter does a terrible job at this. Do not accept what they have to sell you for free. Their suggestion is always terrible. It's some variation of your name or some initials and then 8 random digits. No one will ever remember this. You will not remember this. But if you have a Twitter handle like this that is terrible, you can easily change it up in your settings. You just got to get creative. First initial, last name, JP Dad, something like that. But don't be this Twitter robot, okay? The other thing that you really, really need to do is, Catherine, great job here. You need to at least put an icon image here so that people know you're real. Catherine's done a good job. This is a very strange, extremely wide background picture. It's 1,500 pixels wide. Don't try to put a square image of the trio capsules here because it's going to cut the top and bottom off and look terrible. The other thing is you have 140 characters to tell the world about yourself. So Catherine's done a good job of that. She's told the world where she is. I highly recommend doing this because Twitter does a better job of connecting you with local people and local businesses. You've got to get past this thought that you need to protect everything about who you are and your identity on Twitter. That is not what this place is for. Remember, this is the cocktail party where you're meeting new people all the time. You want them to know about you. But don't post your naked baby photos on Twitter. And they gave you a blank to put your Juice Plus site or whatever site you want. But I highly recommend this because if you join one of our deeper Twitter trainings, you're going to learn how to tell how many people actually visit your profile. What we're doing right now is we're visiting Catherine's profile, and Twitter will tell you you had 342 profile visits last month. These people might not end up following you, but they've come to visit you and they want to know who you are and what you're about. So please, back to that idea of branding, please take the time to do this and come across as a real person. Last thought on this is, I just read an article in the New York Times. Twitter is doing a lot, and this is a good thing, of course, to crack down on particularly inflammatory hate speech and ISIS recruiting and all that kind of stuff, which is good. But one of their little blurbs at the bottom was they are going to start penalizing accounts that stay this empty icon because there's tens of thousands of fake accounts on Twitter that tweet hate that are these. And so even if you're tweeting good things and you just stay an icon, like if you sign up for Twitter and you sign up for Soundboard and then you never think about it again, eventually your account will be shut down. So just know that. And you'll be paying me $5 a month. And I'll be happily tweeting for you. And I'm thinking it's going through on my end. But Twitter doesn't tell me that they're not publishing it. So little aside there about Twitter and how to do it right. Okay. I know I'm talking a lot. So Soundboard has a knowledge base. If you ever have questions, you click on this icon here at the top right. Actually, we have a couple of cool features. If you are reading an article that you would love for Soundboard to host, we have a submit an article feature here. You can drop us the link and we'll check it out and then post it on the Soundboard. And then we also have the knowledge base. So if you click on this and then do Help Center, we have lots and lots of articles. We have our deeper Twitter trainings posted here. There's all kinds of things about best practices, how to do Soundboard, etc. I'm gonna stop the share on the desktop and I'm gonna show you one thing on the phone, on mobile, that doesn't work on desktop, because this, Masters is over. Time to put that away. All right. Let me do this. So we think of this as a pretty cool customer retention tool, almost. Think of it like that, where you want to show your customers that you're thinking about them and that you care about what's going on with them. All right, so we're going to hop on the Soundboard here. So 2 things that are unique to mobile. One is, again, the texting thing. So if you find an article, we want, of course, you to be thinking about your customers. You want to get to know them. So if you have somebody that's a vegan or has a mom that has picky kids, something like that, you can search for an article. So hit the magnifying glass here. And then we're going to let's search for vegan. And so we got vegan Easter recipes. So when you hit this article, we're going to hit the plus sign here, which is going to take us down to the bottom. So to see the green button here is text. All right, so that's going to bring up our texting app. All right, did I hit the right button? Y'all, my phone screen is very broken. I let my beautiful 4-year-old twins dance around with it while listening to the Troll soundtrack. Very specific moral of the story. Don't let them do that. Daddy, we won't break it. Yeah, right. All right, something's not cooperating here with my screen. I'm sorry. But it should bring up the texting app. And when it does that, you can text people right to your, directly to them and say, hey, I was thinking about you. I saw this article, something pretty light and easy. So keep that in mind. The other cool thing that you can do, if your phone is not broken, is on Soundboard. We have a lot of images. I have gotten permission from Julie Herbst to host some of the mission-driven model content, so you'll see that pop up. So we have those images, and then we also create a lot of images in-house. We also put these funny GIFs on there, but they don't work with Instagram. So a lot of these that you see, these quotes, we build these, so feel free to use them however you want. But what you can do is, let's pick one that I haven't picked before. So you can pick the image. So at the top here where it says control your food choices, image only. Click that, and this is going to actually bring you to the image itself where we host it on our server. So now tap and hold on your phone until you get this pop-up, save image, and that's going to save it to your camera roll. So then when you're ready to make a post, it's there in your photos just like everything else would be on your camera roll. All right, and then you can create your post just like you normally would. And another cool thing that I'm sure you're familiar with is if you are an Instagram user, is that Instagram does a really good job of telling you what hashtags are active. So I'm just started typing hashtag health here, but it's got all these suggestions and it's showing you how frequently those hashtags are used. So you can use some really, well-used, well-known hashtags to get your stuff found and included alongside what other people are doing. So pretty cool features there for mobile users. Alrighty, I have talked a lot. There's much information here, I know. But y'all, this is a webinar format, so I can't actually hear anybody. But if y'all have questions, please, use the chat window here, and we'll take some questions. Cindy, do you have any thoughts or comments? You've been through a lot of our trainings, and
yeah, well, the one thing I would really like to tell my team, and I know, we've worked and I've spoken to all of y'all before about trying to have everything like the shred guide, and what we're using with the shred and everything printed out. But I would suggest, like, I have a folder here that's got my social media training where you can go in, to Soundboard and you can print this out. So it's really good if you want to refer back to something. I found that this is very helpful to refer back to that.
We do have this. I'll point it out to you in our user base here. We actually created a user guide because I know some people really do like to print stuff out, and so we have a PDF here that you can grab. That is, I don't know, I think it's about 15 pages or so, but it's 21 pages. But it's the user guide, and if you've signed up before, you probably got it emailed to you in the past. But it's how to do it all. Everything we've talked about tonight in the I basically took the shred tin guide and tried to make it look like that because that looked really good. So,
right, yeah. So I found that very beneficial. So James, when you were talking about with buffer, and you can only do 10 posts, that's 10 posts per day, right?
That's 10 posts total, however many you do per day. So if you did 1 or 2 per day, that would take you 5 to 6 to 7 days out, depending on how many you did per day.
Okay. Okay.
But a post can go out on multiple platforms. So if you schedule one post, it can go out on Facebook, Twitter, LinkedIn, whatever you have plugged in, and that's still considered one post. It's just one item that's scheduled.
But with Buffer, you only get one platform free with Buffer, correct?
Buffer, you get 3 free. No, excuse me. Buffer, you get 1 per platform. So you could do mine's free. I've got the free version. You could do 1 Twitter handle, 1 Facebook, 1 LinkedIn. Google Plus is kind of a joke. Pinterest, you got to pay for it after a little while. And Instagram, you can connect your Instagram handle to Buffer. You can schedule stuff to go out, but it can't actually complete the post. Just like I showed y'all tonight, there's a workaround with getting content on the Buffer. What it'll do is it'll remind you, hey, you want to put an Instagram post out right now, but then you still have to go and complete the post on the Instagram app yourself. So basically, most people just use it for Twitter, Facebook, and LinkedIn, which keeps you in the free zone because it's just one. If you tried to add a personal profile and a business page and a group, that's when you have to pay.
Okay, that's what I was curious about, because we have like a healthy living page and a jumpstart healthy living page, which is a shred, and the other one's just a healthy living page. So you couldn't really do both of those platforms in with Buffer.
For free. Yeah, you'd have to buy their $10 a month thing. Okay. But then you also get 100 posts if you pay. You can schedule up to 100 posts.
Okay. Okay. Now, this was great. And I think a lot of this stuff, many of you have probably heard already before, but if you're like me, just hearing it over and over, you know, kind of reiterates and makes you feel more comfortable. Like tonight, I was much more comfortable seeing what you were doing and knowing that I could do that. I could send that, you know, article as a text message because I've played around and done that. So just seeing it over and over, I hope that that's been helpful for everyone.
Yeah, so if you'll check us out on the Facebook page, if you haven't done that, we have a lot of upcoming trainings listed. And again, we'll see everybody at conference, and we'll have a big announcement about the next round of trainings that I think everybody's going to like. Because, you know, Cindy, actually, I got to tell you, you inspired us specifically when Joe was at Swamp Stomp, and you said something along the lines of, just tell us what to do. And so I've taken that charge very seriously, and I've tried to think, okay, you know, I taught 8th grade for 11 years, and every year I wrote curriculum, and I thought I can write a curriculum for these folks who just want to know what to do. So Social 30 is coming.
Well, that sounds great. That sounds great, because it is hard when you're used to doing it. You're used to, even when you click your things, you're doing it so quickly. And when you're new and a novice at it, you're like, wait, what did you click to get there?
Yeah.
So, no, that's awesome. We so appreciate everything y'all are doing. Y'all are great.
Well, thank you. Okay, well, we're going to be doing some interviews. If y'all have seen the James and Joe show, we're going to be doing a lot of live stuff from the floor at conference. So track us down, be on our show. It would be great.
All right. Well, listen, James, thank you so much for tonight. We appreciate it.
Okay, y'all have a great one.
Thanks. Bye-bye.